has clapped back at Cathy Engelbert. And this is a great post here from Sophie. So Sophie Cunningham on Instagram. So get ready to take your fine, Sophie. Get ready to take your fine.
Everyone thought the WNBA firestorm was cooling down. They're dead wrong. What's actually happening behind the scenes is a full-blown player revolt, ignited by a commissioner who allegedly called her own athletes losers and completely dismissed Caitlin Clark's unparalleled impact. This isn't just drama. This is a powder keg, and the fuse was just lit by players who are finally fed up.
People only know Cathy because of Caitlin. She's the most delusional leader our league has ever seen. And it shouldn't even be about our commissioner in the first place. He's not wrong about that. It is very clear that Cathy Engelbert is pissed off that she's not the face of the league.
Another day, another controversy in the WNBA. And somehow, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert finds a way to make things worse every single week. At this point, she might as well hand every player a fine sheet the second they walk into practice. Because clearly, speaking your mind is the new crime in women's basketball. The snowball started with Nae'fisa Collier's press conference, which was less an exit interview and more a full-scale carpet bombing. She called Engelbert tone-deaf, accused the league of ignoring officiating disasters, and flat-out said WNBA leadership doesn't value players.
Thank you all for your time today. I have prepared a statement that I would like to make before taking any questions. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates.
But here's where it gets really crazy. Collier didn't stop there. She revealed private conversations with Engelbert that made jaws hit the floor. When Collier dared to raise officiating concerns, Engelbert allegedly brushed her off with, "Only losers complain about refs." Imagine being a commissioner and essentially telling your own elite athletes they're whiny losers. That's like a CEO telling employees, "If you don't like the broken air conditioning, you must be lazy complainers." And it got even worse. Collier also claimed Engelbert dismissed the revenue-driving power of Caitlin Clark, saying Clark should be grateful the WNBA gave her a platform, because without it, she wouldn't be making money off sponsorships. Excuse me? Clark was pulling in massive NIL deals, selling out arenas, and single-handedly making women's basketball a primetime event before Engelbert ever entered the picture. To act like Clark owes her success to the WNBA is beyond laughable. The WNBA owes its recent relevance to Clark.
Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. Sorry, I had to walk here in my boot. I'm kind of out of breath. The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way.
This is the part that will blow your mind. Players across the league started reacting. And when Sophie Cunningham enters the chat, you know it's about to get spicy. Sophie has never been shy. She's fiery on the court and in interviews, and she doesn't bite her tongue. After Engelbert's "Clark should be grateful" line hit the internet, Sophie absolutely torched her on social media. Engelbert is the most delusional leader our league has ever seen, and should never be commissioner in the first place. Boom. Mic drop. Sophie isn't some rookie trying to get attention. She's a veteran. She's built her brand. She's been part of the league's growth. When she goes public like that, it signals that frustration isn't just with fans on Twitter. It's boiling inside locker rooms too.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, "Well, only the losers complain about the refs." I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, "Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything." And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
That's just the beginning of this rabbit hole. Before Engelbert could even craft her next corporate word salad response, Lexie Hull jumped in too. Lexie is usually known more for her defense and hustle than her quotes. But even she couldn't hold back. Hull publicly backed Collier, saying she agreed with everything Collier said and was proud of her for speaking up. Think about that. Two players from different teams, both putting their names on criticism of the commissioner. That doesn't happen unless people are fed up. This is no longer a one-off rant. It's turning into a movement. What's even more damning is the pattern. Cheryl Reeve called out refs and got suspended. Becky Hammon agreed and got fined. Stephanie White hinted at inconsistency and got fined too. Now Collier lays it all out. Sophie goes nuclear, and Lexie adds backup. That's not coincidence. That's a league-wide revolt bubbling just under the surface.
Why these players are getting screwed in the CBA, by the way. She gave up 18 extra percent in that. She sold 18% of the league. She sold 18% of the league to private investors. Yes, the league might have needed that 18% initially, but if she had not made that deal 2 years ago, 2 years before the Caitlin Clark boom, like, this is how bad it's gotten. Troy Dan is tweeting about it. If you guys know how crazy this is. Troy Dan is tweeting about it. Like, you know this is bad. This is bad when Troy Dan is tweeting about it. Like, I'm not, like, this is bad. And Sophie's on the money.
Everything you think you know is about to change. This all connects back to Caitlin Clark, whether Engelbert likes it or not. Clark's games bring in the biggest TV numbers, the highest attendance, the most buzz online. Yet she's been targeted on the court all year, battered by physical play that looks more like cheap shots. And the league has done nothing. No accountability, no adjustment, just fines for anyone who dares speak about it. Engelbert's mistake is underestimating how obvious this all looks. Fans aren't dumb. They see Clark getting shoved to the floor without calls. They see refereeing letting opponents rough her up like it's football. They see coaches who try to defend her slapped with fines. And now they see Engelbert telling players to be grateful and calling critics losers. That's a PR nightmare you can't spin away with press releases. This isn't just about the refereeing or Clark anymore. It's about leadership. Collier laid it bare. The league office is more concerned with control than collaboration. Engelbert runs the WNBA like a cold CEO, not a commissioner who understands athletes. She brags about media deals and corporate growth but ignores the human side of the league. Players get injured, fans complain about physicality, coaches ask for consistency, shrug, fine them. That's Engelbert's model. Now remember, Collier is a co-founder of Unrivaled, that new women's league set to launch. Critics will say she has an agenda. Sure she does, but that doesn't make her wrong. Sometimes it takes someone with less to lose to say what everyone else is thinking. Sophie backing her up only adds credibility, because Sophie doesn't have a stake in Unrivaled. Neither does Lexie. They just want a league that values players instead of silencing them. What happens next defies all logic. Let's not forget the timing either. The WNBA is heading toward a new CBA negotiation, and tensions are high. Players want charter flights, better salaries, and safer working conditions. Engelbert keeps waving the sustainability buzzword like it's a magic shield against criticism. Meanwhile, the league brags about billion-dollar media deals. You can't cry poor while cashing billion-dollar checks. That disconnect is fueling this revolt. And to make matters worse, Engelbert has managed to turn herself into the story. A good commissioner should be invisible, working behind the scenes, letting the players and coaches shine. But Engelbert keeps making herself the headline, whether it's with tone-deaf comments, weak leadership, or outright arrogance. Instead of talking about playoff basketball, everyone's talking about her. Let's zoom in on what this actually means for the WNBA going forward. Because this isn't just drama. It's an earthquake shaking the league's foundation. Sophie's way of torching Engelbert wasn't just a side comment. It was calculated frustration boiling over. Sophie said, in plain words, Cathy is the most delusional leader the league has ever had, and should never be commissioner in the first place. That's not a player lightly criticizing leadership. That's a player saying the league's top boss has no business being in charge. You can't walk that back. And here's the kicker. Fans rallied behind her instantly. Social media lit up with support for Sophie, with people even joking about starting GoFundMe pages to cover her inevitable fine. When fans are already preparing to cover fines for players just for speaking truth, the league has lost the trust of its own customer base. Then we've got Lexie Hull. She's not usually a headline grabber, but her backing of Collier was huge. She said she agreed with everything Collier said and was proud of her for speaking up. That's powerful. Why? Because it shows that even quieter players are fed up. When someone like Lexie feels compelled to go public, it means frustration is universal, not just isolated to a few outspoken stars. This leads us back to the big question. How much longer can Engelbert survive? You've got players, coaches, and fans all uniting in criticism. You've got the media hammering her daily. You've got rival leagues like Unrivaled waiting in the wings, smelling blood. And most importantly, you've got the NBA, which ultimately oversees the WNBA, watching its investment get dragged through the mud. Adam Silver can only look the other way for so long. The NBA poured billions into media deals that hinge on stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buecher's drawing eyeballs. But if Clark keeps getting hammered with no protection, if Angel is thrown around for drama, and if players like Nae'fisa are sidelined with injuries while the commissioner shrugs, then those deals lose value. And trust me, money talks. Billion-dollar contracts don't stay safe when ratings plummet. Now let's circle back to Caitlin Clark. She's not a rookie anymore. She's in year 2, carrying the weight of the league's marketing, attendance, and TV ratings on her shoulders. And yet, instead of celebrating her, Engelbert essentially dismissed her by saying she should be grateful for the WNBA platform. Excuse me? Clark brought her own platform. She was packing arenas in Iowa before she ever wore a Fever jersey. She already had corporate sponsorships lining up. She had millions tuning in just to watch her play college ball. For Engelbert to claim the league made Clark is not just wrong, it's insulting. And that's why Sophie's words hit so hard, because fans know it's true. Without Clark, the WNBA's media deal doesn't look half as shiny. Without Clark, attendance numbers don't spike. Without Clark, the conversation isn't even this loud. And instead of protecting her, instead of making sure she thrives, Engelbert and the league allowed her to become a punching bag for opponents all season. This is where Nae'fisa's comments really sting. She said the league doesn't care about player health, doesn't care about officiating consistency, and doesn't even care about the product on the floor. That's a damning indictment. She basically accused leadership of sabotaging their own league, and she might be right. When players are sidelined with injuries, when stars are fined for speaking out, when fans see thuggery instead of basketball, what's left to sell? And let's not forget, Collier also exposed Engelbert's arrogance, allegedly saying players should thank their lucky stars for her media rights deal. As if it wasn't Adam Silver who pushed networks into including the WNBA. As if it wasn't Clark's arrival that forced advertisers to pay attention. Engelbert taking credit for that is like someone showing up at halftime of a game, watching their team already leading by 30, and then claiming they carried the squad to victory. Please. The problem is simple. Engelbert is out of touch. She's a corporate executive playing commissioner. She's good at spreadsheets, not people. She's not an athlete, and she needs to foster connection between players, fans, and leadership. She's the wrong fit. Collier said it best. There's no accountability from the top. None. Players are fined, coaches are suspended, but referees are never held accountable. Leadership never takes blame, and fans see it. Now here's where things get really bad for Engelbert. This revolt is no longer just whispers behind closed doors. It's public. Players are going viral, blasting her. Fans are calling out inconsistency. Fans are openly mocking her. Even media outlets are running headlines questioning how long she can last. And every time she responds with another bland PR statement, she digs the hole deeper. So what happens next? Let's speculate. If the NBA feels the WNBA is becoming a liability instead of an asset, Engelbert could be forced out quietly after the next CBA negotiation. They'll let her take a victory lap for securing media deals, then nudge her out the door. Or if things get worse, it could be sooner. Because here's the reality, you can't have your commissioner openly mocked by your own players on a weekly basis. It undermines the league's credibility. And let's talk about the damage already done. Fans who tuned in for Clark are already walking away. Social media is full of posts saying, "I'm done watching until the league protects her." Things are slipping. Attendance outside Fever games is flat. And instead of addressing it, Engelbert acts like it's all fine. Well, it's not. And players like Sophie and Lexie calling her out prove it. This isn't about one bad call. It's about a culture of negligence. Refereeing disasters are brushed aside. Player health is ignored. Coaches are punished for speaking truth. And when stars finally snap, Engelbert's response is to call them losers, or tell them to be grateful. That's not leadership, that's arrogance. Let's be blunt. The WNBA has the best women's basketball talent in the world, but the worst leadership in pro sports. That's what Nae'fisa said, and that's what Sophie and Lexie are backing up. And honestly, they're right. This league could be exploding right now, with Clark, Reese, Buecher's, Boston, Collier, Wilson, and more. This should be a golden era. Instead, it's chaos. Now think about the optics. You've got your commissioner downplaying the biggest stars, veterans blasting her as delusional, fans openly rooting for her firing, and rival leagues like Unrivaled sitting back grinning, waiting to scoop up talent if things implode. This is a powder keg, and Engelbert is holding the match. Sophie Cunningham just called Cathy Engelbert the most delusional commissioner ever. Lexie Hull is backing Nae'fisa, and fans are piling on. The WNBA is in full meltdown mode, and leadership looks clueless. Has Engelbert finally lost the locker room for good?